Okay, so we're now on task 1, examine components of the physical layer of the OSI model. In this task, you will examine components of the physical layer of the OSI model. To do so, perform the following steps. Step 1, connect to PLAB Window. Okay, so right click on the network icon on the bottom right, and click the Open and Sharing Center menu item. Okay, okay, so let's move forward to step 2. So click on the Change Adapter Settings link at the left. Okay, so step 3. Right click the Internet adapter and click Properties. Okay, so it's version properties. Okay, so 4. On the Internet Properties dialog box, click Configure. Under the Microsoft Hyper-V network adapter. Okay, so in step 5, the Microsoft Hyper-V network adapter properties dialog box appears. This is the dialog box that displays the properties of the physical network interface card NIC on the device. So click the Details tab. Okay, so step 6, from the property drop box, select the hardware IDS parameter. IDS. Okay, so here's the right one. So moving on to step 7. Notice two values appear in the value box. These are hardware IDs for the specific network adapter that is being used that will match the driver being used to allow it to function. Okay, so step 8. From the property drop box, select the is connected parameter. Is connected. Okay, so moving on to step 9. The value returned is true. This indicates that the NIC is physically connected to a switch or an other network device, and that a carrier signal in the form of a voltage is detected on the network. All of the all of the below parameters and characteristics are part of the physical layer of the OSI model. Close the Microsoft Hyper-V Network Adapter Properties dialog box. Okay, moving on. On task 2, examine components of the data link layer of the OSI model. In this task, you will examine components of the data link layer of the OSI model. The data link layer is composed of two sub-layers, the logical link control LLC lower sub-layer and the media access control, which is MAC, upper sub-layer. To examine these, perform the following steps. Step 1, ensure you are connected to PLAB Win10. Okay, so I'm already connected to it, and the network connections window is open. And right click on the internet adapter and click properties. Okay, moving on to step 2. On the internet properties dialog box, click configure under the Microsoft Hyper-V network adapter. Okay, so step 3, click the driver tab. Okay, so on step 4, click on the driver details button. Okay, moving on to step 5. The driver file details window appear. Click on the driver file to view the information such as file version and provider of the driver. According to the Microsoft, the LLC sublayer is implemented in the driver of the interface. The LLC takes care of the error pre-transfer of data frames from one node to another. Click OK twice and close the network connection and the network sharing center. Okay, step 6, click on the start button, type the following. I'm gonna just go copy this and paste it on the search bar. So it's command prompt. Okay, moving on to step 7. The command prompt window appear. Type the following command. So it's ipconfig. In shortcut, I will just copy paste, then press enter. Okay, so in step 8, scroll up and review the information found under the internet adapter. Internet. Heading locate the physical address heading and note the value shown. This is the MAC address of the specific network interface card, which is NIC. Notice that each NIC has a unique MAC address. Okay, so moving on. Step 9. Determining the MAC address of the device can allow for the application of MAC addresses. Filtering. This is done by recording the MAC address of the device in question and adding it to a whitelist or blacklist to either allow it or deny it access. Such as this can be configured on the connecting switches or other network devices such as wireless access points or local routers. Okay, moving on to step 10. Several protocol functions of the data link layer. One of these is the address resolution protocol ARP. This protocol determines the MAC address that corresponds to the appropriate IP address. To view the ARP table of the PLAB110 device, enter the following command in the command prompt. Just copy this and enter it over here and paste. Then hit enter. Okay, so here's the results. Okay, moving on to step 11. Review the ARP entries under the interface 192.168.4.0.4. Heading notice the address 192.168.0.2. This is the PLABTC01 device from this table. You can see the MAC address of the NIC card which has this IP address. Okay. All of the below parameters and characteristics are part of the data link layer of the OSI model. So keep the command prompt windows open. Task 3, examine components of the network layer of the OSI model. In this task, you will examine components of the network layer of the OSI model. To examine these, perform the following steps. So step 1, ensure that you are connected to PLAB110 and the command prompt window is open. Issue the following command. So copy. Once again, enter. Okay, so moving on to step 2. Scroll up to the internet adapter Ethernet section and review the information found there. Okay, step 3. Examine and find the following information about the IPv4 protocol. IPv4 address 192.168.0.4. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Then the default gateway 192.168.0.250. Note that the following Note the following. The IPv4 address is a private IP address and can only be used on the internal networks, not on the internet. The subnet mask indicates that the range of IP addresses in the same subnet are from 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.0.255. Any destination outside of that subnet will require the use of the default gateway. The default gateway is configured as 192.168.0.250. Okay, and step 4. Examine and find the following information about the IPv6 protocol. Link local IPv6 address FE80 AD9D 1F41 E92A 3445%6. Note the following. This address begins with FE80, so it is only a link local address. It is self-assigned and not assigned by DHCP or SLAC device. Okay, step 5. Right-click on the network icon at the bottom right and click on Open Network and Sharing Center. Okay, so on step 6, click on the Internet 2 adapter. Okay, so let's click on it. Okay, moving on to step 7. The Internet 2 status dialog box is displayed. Click Properties. Okay, step 8. The Internet 2 Properties dialog box opens. View the items found on the list among them. You should find both IPv4 and IPv6. Click the Internet Protocol version 4, TCP IPv4 item and click Properties. Okay, so on step 9, the interface is configured to obtain an IPv4 address automatically. However, there is no DHCP server on the network. Click on the Use the following IP address radio button and configure the interface with the following parameters. So the IP will be 147.52.3.17. Okay, so the subnet mask is 255.55 to 55.255.128. So let's copy it and just paste it over here as a shortcut. Okay, then the default gateway will be 1.4, 147.52.3.1. Okay, copy paste. Okay, so moving on. Note to the following, this is IP address is what's known as a public or routable IP address. It can be used on the internet. The subnet mask is different than its classful address. This means that it is using a variable length subnet mask, which is BLSM. Once the configuration is complete, click OK. Okay, so hit OK. So step 10, you are presented with a warning concerning multiple default gateways. So just click yes to continue. Okay, so let's click close. Okay, so let's minimize network and sharing center. Okay, moving on to step 11. Restore the command prompt window from the taskbar once again. If it is closed, open a new one. So moving on to step 12. Issue the following command and press enter. Once again, ipconfig /1 /all. Copy and paste. So enter. Okay. Step 13. Review the configuration of the interfaces and verify the changes you made have been applied. All of the all of the below parameters and characteristics are part of the network layer of the OSI model. So again, keep the command prompt window open for the next exercise. So let's move to the next page. Okay, so exercise 4, layers 4 to 7 of the OSI model. In this exercise, you will examine the various portions of network and you will identify them as part of the specific layers within the OSI model. This exercise deals with layers 4 to 7 of the OSI model, namely the transport session, presentation, and application layers. To better understand this technology, also refer to your course material or use your preferred search engine to research this topic in detail. So, learning outcomes. After completing this exercise, you will be able to examine the components of the transport layer of the OSI model. Second one is known about session and presentation layers of the OSI model. Then the third one is examine the components of the application layer of the OSI model. Okay, your devices, you will be using the following devices in this lab. Please power on this now. Let's power on PLA V110, Windows 10 workstation. As you can see, it's already turned on because we already used it previously for the previous exercise for the earlier exercises. So moving on to task 1, examine components of the transport layer of the OSI model. In this task, you will examine components of the network layer of the OSI model. To do so, perform the following steps. Step 1, connect to PLAB Win10. The command prompt window is open, so maximize the command prompt. Window is open. For, for ease of use, type the following command to clear all the previous commands and output. Just copy it and paste. So you can see it's a shortcut so it can be clear. So once again, next type the following command and press enter. The next one is netstat. Okay, so okay, on step 2, after several seconds of the output appears, this command shows that TCP session that currently exists on the device. Okay, moving on to step 3. Open the Internet Explorer from the taskbar. Okay, step 4. You are presented with the tools and resources intranet page to produce some new TCP sessions. Type the following into the address bar and press enter. Okay. Okay, so on step 5, the CompTIA website appears. Okay, on step 6, return to the command prompt and reissue the following command: netstat in presenter. So step 7, notice that the additional sessions are included in the output. However, these are all with the proxy 8080 device. This is because all of the traffic between devices in the practice lab's lab environment and the internet communicate via the proxy server. Proxy is the domain name of the device, and 8080 is the port in which communication is taking place. Notice also that each session has a specific state of established time, wait, and close wait. These are different states of TCP session. Okay, on step 8, after several attempts, you may also see some entries with UDP in the protocol column. These are these are not sessions but UDP datagrams that have been sent or received on the interface services that use UDP include DHCP, DNS, and SNMP. You can attempt to repeatedly run the following command, which filters out all the UDP entries and press enter each time. Okay, so let's enter the netstat. Let's just copy it and paste it over here on the command prompt. Okay, so that's the result. So know about session and presentation layers of the OSI model. The session and presentation layers of the OSI model are not represented in the TCP IP model, but are included within the application layer of that model. The session layer provides the mechanism for opening, closing, and managing a session between end-user application processes. Communication sessions consist of requests and responses that occur between applications. The presentation layer is responsible for the delivery of and formatting of information to the application layer for further processing or display. It relieves the application layer of concern regarding syntactical and differences in data representation within the end-user systems. So examples of these layers functioning within the Windows environment include the use of NetBIOS names for the session layer and character code translation such as from ASCII to EDC, DIC, and back. For the most part, these layers cannot be directly viewed within a Windows environment, as most Windows network components are structured around the TCP IP model, and as such, these functionalities are included within the application layer. So moving on to task 3, examine components of the application layer of the OSI model. To examine this, perform the following steps. Step 1, connect to PLAP Win 10, which we are already connected to. So restore the network and sharing center windows and click on the Windows Firewall link located on the lower left of the corner of the window.